So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to the Galaxy S10 Plus versus the iPhone XS Max full comparison. Now in this video we're going to break down these two to help you decide which one is better in detail. I do have a timestamp down below. You can go to the sections that matter most to you. Let's begin by talking about the price. So the Galaxy S10 Plus, the cheapest model you're gonna get, comes standard with 128 gigabytes of storage, and it's gonna run you about $999 prior to tax. You're gonna have tax on it, so it's a $1,000 phone. The iPhone XS Max at 64 gigabytes, that's 2 times less storage, is gonna run you $100 more at $1,099 to start. Now, if you want to get the ceramic model of the Galaxy S10 Plus, it's going to be significantly more, but it does feel more premium. So do keep that in mind. Now, if you do go up in storage tiers, like to 512 gigabytes to the 1 terabyte of storage, you're going to go up significantly to over $1,500, especially on that 1 terabyte model of the S10 Plus, which I don't think most consumers are going to get because it's overkill. But if you need it, you do have that option. Same with the XS Max. If you go with like a 512 gigabyte, it's going to cost you over $1,500. Okay, so let's start with design on the Galaxy S10 Plus. So you can see right there, one of the major factors that you're going to notice right away is the cutout in the display. It's like a pill shaped here for your depth camera and your front camera, although those cameras are improved at 4K and 10 megapixels, so they're much better than before. You have a very thin bezel here at the top, and at the bottom you do have a chin for the Galaxy S10 Plus. You keep your curved display, so it basically feels bezel-less along the edges. And my first impressions when I got this thing out of the box were just light and premium for a big device. So I do think that people thought last year Samsungs were too heavy. We'll enjoy the new S10 Plus, but if you still like that heavy feel and you don't like this light stuff, you still got the ceramic model, although that one's going to cost you significantly more. You have aluminum frames here that kind of look like the stainless steel on the iPhone XS Max, but they're not, but still they look kind of similar. And the bottom basically looks like the old Galaxy S8 Plus as well as the S9 Plus. There's not a big difference here at the bottom. Overall, I would say that this design is very nice. It's like a refinement over the past two Galaxies. It's not like groundbreaking or anything like that, all new. It's just, it's got a new camera. It's got a triple camera on the rear. It's lighter, a little bit shinier, and a little bit refined. So I would say it's like the ultimate refinement of the original Galaxy S8 Plus. So if you had that, you'll love this device. On the whole, it's a premium, big, light device with an innovative display with a pill-shaped cutout instead of a notch. So moving over to the XS Max, we do get a premium feel as well. We have a stainless steel band like all the way around the sides of this thing, glass on the rear. The camera hump, I think, is a little thicker than that one on the Galaxy S10 Plus, so I do like the camera design better for the S10 Plus. I also like it in a horizontal fashion. I think it looks better than this vertical design here for the camera on the XS Max. But overall, the XS Max, especially in this gold color, just feels like $1,000 in your hand, like it does cost a little bit more than that actually. The stainless steel, it feels almost the same as this aluminum on the sides and looks similar, but it's a more premium material. So I think the XS Max for the price gives you a more premium body, because to get the more premium ceramic model of the Galaxy S10 Plus, you exceed the price of the iPhone XS Max. So the substantial 208 grams gives it that more heft feeling than the Galaxy S10 Plus at basically the same price. But some people are really going to prefer that light feel of the Galaxy S10 Plus. So this doesn't per se make it better that it feels more substantial. I'm just saying, to get this weighty feel, this substantial feel, you're going to need to pay for the ceramic model of the Galaxy S10 Plus. Stainless steel is definitely a stronger material than the S10 Plus, so I think for at least the base model, the XS Max has the more premium body. Now, that doesn't mean that it looks better to everybody. The Galaxy S10 Plus may look better, but for some, the XS Max will look better. Now, when it comes to the notch, the iPhone XS Max, it definitely has a bigger notch than this little pill-shaped cutout here for the Galaxy S10 Plus, but it's not as in your way as the one on the smaller iPhones, because like the iPhone XS, because this screen is so big you don't even really notice it. as much, but it still gets in the way. And I would say that it's really going to come down to what do you prefer, this cutout or this notch. I don't think anybody wants either of these. I think everybody wants an all screen display, but for me, I prefer the cutout. I don't think it's as in the way, and I don't look at it as much as I looked at the notch when getting used to the XS Max. At the end, there's no clear winner here in design, but I do think if you want a more premium body, the XS Max for the price is better value. If you want a more innovative look, a more shiny color kind of phone, and just a phone that people might be like, what phone is that? That's the Galaxy S10 Plus right here. Okay guys, so I want to talk about scratching, build quality, stuff like that. I found in my experience that Samsung devices typically scratch easier than my iPhones, especially on the backs and along the sides. So if you're looking for a phone that's going to give you probably a little bit better scratch resistance, I think it's the iPhone in my experience. Now on the front screens, they both scratch very easily, so put a screen protector on both of them. The S10 Plus comes with it right out of the box, but that one scratches easy as well, so you might want to get a third party if you want a quality screen protector. On the whole, I think build quality is almost identical, but scratching is a little bit more apparent in my experience on Samsung devices. Also, I found that the paint on the back of these things do wear off a little easier on my Galaxy devices, like in the corners and stuff. I've noticed that on both my S9 Plus as well as my Note 9. So I would say the XS Max really nails it here. So that's just something I want to mention about build quality. On the whole though, they both are very fragile. You're going to need cases and accessories to keep these things 100% mint if you're trying to do that. Okay, so when it comes to displays, the Galaxy S10 Plus, dynamic AMOLED, 6.4 inch here, and you get 1440 by 3040 pixels. So it's the higher resolution display when it comes to pixels per inch density. It's like over 520 pixels per inch or something like that. So very, very sharp display, and you could tweak it to 720 if you want, or like the 1080 mode. So you can really bring it down if you want to save some battery life, something you can't do on a XS Max. This also has HDR10 Plus compatibility. I think it's like the first phone to do that, so you don't get that for the XS Max. Most content can't be shown in that mode anyway right now, so it might not be that useful at this point, but it's ahead of the curve. Let's just put it that way. Corning Gorilla Glass 6 on this display again helps it out with some scratch protection, even though I just said that you should still put a screen protector. I do believe that having the latest version is still great. It doesn't have the 3D touch home button that the old Galaxies used to have, but what I can say is that it's a really natural look on this new dynamic AMOLED display, closer to that of an iPhone actually, kind of like the basic mode on your old Galaxy. They have trimmed down in One UI here the amount of screen modes you have to make it a little more simpler. You just have vivid or natural. So it's either a natural flat look or it's a vivid, very saturated look here that you're used to on your old Samsung displays. So overall, really just a phenomenal panel here for this device, and I don't think anybody's gonna have any issue. As a matter of fact, most people are buying it for that display. So the display here is A1 on the Galaxy. We don't have to go on and on about that. Samsung has always crushed it here, but is it better than the one on the XS Max for everyone? Now the XS Max also has a very gorgeous display as well. This thing has 458 pixels per inch, 260, it's like 2688 by 1242. It's also scratch resistant, has an oleophobic coating, HDR10 support, so not the 10 Plus. It does have 3D touch, something you don't get on the Galaxy S10 Plus. It also has Dolby Vision, a wide color gamut, and True Tone. So really, it's just really loaded with a lot of display tech here. And I do think that the iPhone still has some of the best color accuracy on any phone out there. And the XS Max is a gorgeous panel. Really, it's really that good. It doesn't really need modes because Apple has nailed it in terms of giving you just enough saturation and just enough of a natural look. So whereas Samsung's natural might be a little bit too natural for some people on their natural mode, it might be a little bit too saturated on their vivid mode, Apple's kind of like right in the middle of both of those. So if you don't want to tweak your display, the iPhone XS Max is definitely the one for you. It also has 120 Hz sensing, so it has a smoother feel sometimes when you are opening up applications and swiping through it. I think for people who want the absolute best display money can buy and they can tweak it how they like it, it's like you go into Best Buy and you buy the biggest OLED curved display from Samsung. That would be like buying the Galaxy S10 Plus. It's that type of display. But either way, none of them will disappoint you. So I wouldn't pick either of these solely just on display quality. One important note to keep in mind between both of them is the flat panel here for the XS Max versus the curved panel. The flat panel is a lot easier to install screen protectors than this curved panel. Also, it's a lot less likely that you'll have accidental presses, and to some people's eyes, they just do not prefer curved panels. So you got to really go take a look at them before you buy them in person. If I had to pick just one panel though, it would have to be the Galaxy S10 Plus, because of course I want to have the absolute best in the industry in terms of display quality, and I think that the S10 Plus has that here. But the XS Max, I would be having no issue keeping over the long term. It's so close that it's like, don't make this the only factor in buying the phones, because it's very, very close in display quality between these two. So let's talk about the software. With the software here for the Galaxy S10, One UI, Android 9 Pie, they've cleaned up the software a little bit. They have like more of these like little pill-shaped little boxes here in the settings menu. You also have the ability to bring things down with one hand a lot easier and just access your controls. That's kind of like why it's called the One UI. The all new night mode does come here, which is very useful. You can schedule it to your timing when you want it to get on night mode, depending on what time you go to sleep and when you're on, your phone at nighttime. So that's pretty awesome right there as well. The icons get a big change. The multitasking's a little bit different. You also have gestures here for the Galaxy S10 Plus. You still have pop view and those like awesome multitasking features you won't find on the iPhone. Customization is here. You can also rotate the screen in a landscape version, which you cannot really do for the XS Max. I don't think I have it on at the moment. Let me go ahead and turn it on. But you can go ahead and do that here for the Galaxy S10 Plus. So there's plenty of things that the iPhone doesn't do that this does, but there's one thing that this doesn't do that the iPhone does, and that's run iOS. And that might be the sole reason why people are going to pick up the iPhone XS Max. It runs iOS. It's a grid of icons. It's not much you're going to do in terms of, multitasking. It's in an app, out of an app, in an app, and that's about it. But the polish of these apps, the fact that developers are still putting their apps on the iPhone pretty much first, the best ones usually, is a huge deciding factor. Also, iOS works very well across its ecosystem. So if you're using different devices, you have the AirDrop feature, which with all iPhones comes, but having it here on the XS Max, if you're using another Apple product, is really something that's hard to give up. The Galaxy still running Android under the Samsung illusion. So basically, it's the Samsung experience, but it's still Android under everything. So do keep that in mind. It's still an Android phone. Let's just say that the iPhone has smoother gestures, less multitasking, but way better software support when it comes to getting updates as much. The Galaxy is a functional utility type of phone. It has so much functionality. It's practical. It has all the tools you need to use in a device, but don't expect software updates every, week like you kind of get with the iPhone. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Still Android, but it's the cleanest Samsung experience ever. It's really going to come down to the same thing it's been coming down for the ages: customization, practicality, functionality, tweaking your phone out how you like it, and having good multitasking versus the simple, solid iOS that we've all come to know and love. But this could change heavily with iOS 13. So really looking forward to seeing what that brings to the XS Max. But overall, in the long haul, iOS will probably stay smoother and be updated longer. So do keep in mind how long you do plan to keep both of these devices. If I personally now had to choose one software that I would pick in terms of the one I would use, it probably would be the S10 Plus, just because I want to use the multitasking features. I love iOS. I love how smooth it is, but I really like iOS on an iPad more than I do on a phone, because I can do multitasking things on an iPad. When they bring multitasking, it's going to be even Steven for me on both of these. So when it comes to voice assistants, of course, you still have Bixby here. I didn't update it, but it's still here on board. I've tried it out. It looks a little different than before, but still it's Bixby and I really don't like it. I actually always disable it off the home screen here. I just don't understand it, like why we need Bixby on here when we have Google Assistant, and it's the same argument it has been for a long time. Now, there are some people who will strongly defend Bixby and they love what it does for home and doing certain things. It learns what you say, it gives you points, it does a few things Google Assistant doesn't do. It works decently well with the Galaxy Watch and stuff like that. But I just don't understand why we need two assistants on one phone. If we're going to do this, Samsung, we might as well make the phone an entire Samsung software. Now, I know we're so far into the Android ecosystem at this point that would probably hurt Samsung more than help them at this point. But I'm just saying, it feels like we have an Android experience, Google experience with a Samsung experience sometimes. And it's just like, I don't want to think about, should I use OK Google, or should I use, oh, I just activated, or should I use Bixby today? That's just not simple to me. That just makes things complex. With the iPhone, it's Siri or nothing. And of course, I know you can download the Google search app, but that's not like on an Android phone. On an Android phone, you could search right from the phone itself. You have to open the app on the iPhone. So it's Siri or nothing. It's just a simpler experience. Is it better? Well, I think so. I think Siri is actually better than Bixby. I don't think it's better than Google Assistant, but I do think it's better than Bixby. So, and that's not just because I don't like Bixby, it's because it actually works better in my personal experience using it. So what about performance on each device? Now, it's similar story to before. The Galaxy kind of feels faster with its animations. It shows more of its power because it can do multitasking. You can actually take advantage of its power in that way. But the iPhone is very smooth as well and very fast as well. Both 7nm chips, and the 812 Bionic is technically more powerful. Galaxy S10 Plus's CPU and that Snapdragon 855. But at the same time, you kind of see it more on the Galaxy. These phones are basically equal in performance. It just comes down to, what do you like better? The iOS look with the smooth animations, or do you like the faster, snappier, maybe a little bit choppier, but no animation look, kind of look and feel of the Galaxy S10 Plus. You also have animations if you leave them on, but the S10 Plus shows more of its power. And I think if you're into speed, you might enjoy the S10 Plus a little bit more. If you're into polish and you're into just a smooth looking phone, you'll really like the very smooth iPhone XS Max. It does that a little bit better. So let's talk about biometrics and security. You have the in-display fingerprint sensor here for the Galaxy S10 Plus, and it works very well once you have a few fingers registered. I found if you have only one registered, sometimes it misses quite a bit. So you might want to register a few fingers to get this to work every single time. However, you do lose the iris, so you don't have a physical fingerprint sensor anymore, but you also lose the iris for this design, and you have a very insecure face unlock up here. It can be fooled by phones. This might be updated and some software updates, but I don't know how much they can update it because there's just not hardware there like you have in the notch of the XS Max for Face ID. Now with the XS Max, we do have Face ID up here, which I do strongly prefer over Samsung's Face Unlock. It's just way better. It has way better app support, so when you are going into banks and stuff like that, you can open up your banking app with just an authentication of your face, which is super secure and pretty awesome to use. It just feels like something out of the future, as does Samsung's ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. That feels like something out of the future. So they both got their feels like something out of the future feature on both of them. Face ID being a lot better than Samsung's Face Unlock, Apple having no fingerprint sensor, Samsung having a fingerprint sensor. So really, it's not that either one is better than the other. It's just really personal preference. The thing is, though, is that Samsung's device typically can get in first. So if you're more concerned about speed and getting in the device first, I do think Samsung's edition is quicker to get in the phone. But that doesn't mean that it's the better option. Some people might like the Face Unlock and how secure it is with Apple. So to me, they're pretty even in biometrics. It's going to come down to your personal preference. So discussing the battery life, the Galaxy S10 Plus is not one to mess around with. It does have a 4100 milliamp hour battery, so definitely very big compared to the XS Max's 3174 milliamp hour battery. But how do they actually perform in the real world? Well, the S10 Plus in actual usage is substantially better in my experience than the XS Max. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours longer on actual usage when you're using the phone. Of course, iOS still is king when it comes to its standby time. So if you keep your phone in your pocket a lot, you'll still love what the Apple iPhone does. You can go to bed with like 99% and wake up with 99%, sometimes maybe 98%. So you have to decide how much are you actually using your phone. I think for people who use the crap out of their phone, the Galaxy S10 Plus is the better device. I think for people who, busy all the time, they're only opening their phone up a couple times here and there, a couple times an hour, they're at work, stuff like that. They just need it to stay charged while it's in their pocket, and they go to sleep at night, they forget to charge their phone, but they still had battery. The iOS experience is better. Both of them do have fast charging. However, you have to pay extra for that with the XS Max, which I don't think everybody's going to do. You get the fast charger in the box. You can also reverse wireless charge here with the Galaxy S10 Plus to share power with other users, including even iPhone users. So it's up here in the device's wireless power share setting. Put it there, you'll see right here the XS Max will begin to charge. Seen that right there. So this will share power to other devices and charge it up. So that's something you won't get on the 10s Max. I'm sure newer iPhones will bring it. Overall, the one that is better in battery life is the Galaxy S10 Plus. The one that's better in standby in my experience is the iPhone. So just pick it based on those merits right there. And for those people who got to know the screen time as if that's the only thing that matters with battery life, it's not, but a lot of people care just about screen time. I'm getting around 6 hours, 45 minutes to over 7 hours sometimes with the Galaxy S10 Plus. With the iPhone XS Max, 5 hours, 45 minutes to about 6 hours, 15. So about an hour, hour and a half better on the Galaxy S10 Plus, which is significant. Let's talk about the cameras. You do have two 12 megapixel cameras and a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor here for the Galaxy S10 Plus. It shoots in 4K 60, and also you do have a 10 megapixel camera on the front plus an 8 megapixel wide sensor depth camera. It doesn't really do much. It's mostly the 10 megapixel that does most of the work. 4K here on the front as well, which is awesome, and super steady stabilization. So video shooters are gonna love the Galaxy S10 Plus with a passion for not having to use a gimbal, not having to bring a tripod. It's amazing stabilization, definitely better than the one on the iPhone XS Max. You'll see it in my upcoming camera comparison between these two. Now, when it comes to their actual camera experience, it's almost identical if you just point and shoot. They have a similar looking software, pictures on the same left side. You can open the camera from the same right side. At the bottom, you could see you swipe through exactly the same, but there's one key difference here between the Galaxy S10 Plus and the XS Max, and that's that you can get to your camera settings right from the app itself, right up here in the left corner. Super convenient. Apple needs to do this already. I'm going to keep saying it until they do. Get it together, Apple. We want to access our settings right from the camera itself. There's so much you can do with this camera as well versus the XS Max. Only has a few but crucial important features. So again, complex versus simple. There's tons to do. You'll be finding camera features later. You can change your aspect ratios right from the camera itself, whereas your aspect ratios more so change when you go from photo to square mode here, 1:1 or 4:3 here on the iPhone. You do have your filters up here on the iPhone. We don't need to go on and on about the software, but overall, I would say that the Galaxy S10 Plus's software is easier to use than before. You have your little group selfie right here. If you click that guy, we go to the front, you have your ultra wide angle, you have your telephoto zoom. Let's go to that telephoto zoom right there, and your standard wide. On the iPhone, you just have your 2x punch in. AR emoji up there is still a little bit creepier, I think, than Animoji, so keep that in mind. The Animoji is still better on the iPhone, but that's just a little fun feature. Let's go ahead and take a look at these samples side by side, and you can go decide which camera is better for you. In my personal opinion, if I had to pick one camera based on what I'm seeing so far, I'd pick the Galaxy because it has more cameras, and not just because it has more, but they're actually very good, and I really love the steady stabilization of the Galaxy. I love the video. I love the Smart HDR. It makes photos very bright and beautiful for the XS Max, but the Galaxy just has it beat with more cameras and better stabilization. Now I want to talk about storage because there's a ton of it here for the Galaxy S10 Plus. You can expand up to 512 gigabytes with the SD card. You also have 128 gigabyte standard. So the S10 Plus is packing more storage than the iPhone XS Max from the start, which gives you 64 gigabytes. You can go up to 512, but iCloud fills up really fast, and then you have to pay Apple to get iCloud storage. It gets very annoying. They get pop-ups all the time about, oh, fill your iCloud storage up, fill your iCloud storage up, trying to get you to buy it. So I think storage is much better on the Galaxy S10 Plus in terms of the way you manage it, just giving you more from the start. The storage is very fast on the iPhone, as is the S10 Plus, but still, the Galaxy S10 Plus just gives you more ways. So when it comes to storage, the winner is definitely the Galaxy S10 Plus. Okay, so when it comes to audio, the Galaxy S10 Plus has dual speakers, top and bottom. You do have a headphone jack, USB-C. You could listen through, USB-C if you have USB-C headphones. The iPhone XS Max has no headphone jack. It does have great dual speakers though. Bluetooth 5.0, it connects with AirPods. This connects with Galaxy Buds if you want to get those. There's many ways on both to listen to audio, but the S10 Plus gives you the headphone jack. So it's just a step above the iPhone there. But which one is actually a louder phone? I have my sound device here, and we're going to go ahead and test that out with this video. We're going to test the bottom speaker, then the top speaker, and then the same for the XS Max. Let's go. 3, 2, 1.
Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus versus iPhone XS Max speed test. That video's coming up right now. Let's go.
Okay, so you can see the bottom speaker, Galaxy S10 Plus, 99.5. We're going to go ahead and do this now again on the top speaker. 3, 2, 1.
Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus versus iPhone XS Max speed test. That video's coming up right now. Let's go.
Okay, so we hovered around 100.3, so 100 decibels basically on both. Very loud on the Galaxy S10 Plus. That's with the Dolby Atmos turned on. Keep that in mind. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do the XS Max.
Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus versus iPhone XS Max speed test. That video's coming up right now. Let's go.
All right, so we got 100.8 decibels for the bottom speaker on the XS Max. Now that's a little bit louder than even the top speaker for the Galaxy S10 Plus and louder than its bottom speaker. But how is the top speaker? And let's go ahead and put this on off, turn it back on, and do the Max again.
Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus versus iPhone XS Max speed test. That video's coming up right now. Let's go.
Okay, so we got around 99.1 here on the top speaker. So the XS Max has the louder bottom speaker only by a smidge, and the Galaxy S10 Plus has the louder top speaker of the two. So they're basically about equal in terms of how loud they get. They're both around 100 decibels, so very loud devices. You have to have Dolby Atmos on for the loudest version of the speaker on the Galaxy S10 Plus though. You still have a headphone jack, so I'd pick the S10 Plus just because it has that right there. But some people don't really care, and in terms of external speakers, they're about equal, but you do have AirPods, you do have Galaxy Buds, they both have Bluetooth 5.0. It's going to be a good audio experience either way. To me, the S10's better because it has the headphone jack, simply. Okay, so Samsung Pay or Apple Pay? Who pays with their phones? Well, I gotta say that Apple has really been stepping it up in terms of this area. We do have many more stores that now support it, but Samsung Pay's MST technology is still better in terms of it can work almost anywhere. So I found myself actually having more of an accurate experience with the Galaxy. So if you use mobile payment system a lot, you definitely want the Galaxy. It's a little bit more supported. But I find that when I pay with things on the Apple device, it's smoother. So it just kind of works faster. I feel like I got to tap it a couple times with Samsung Pay, but it works in places it doesn't work on the Apple device. But more stores, the mainstream stores, are really taking, this seriously now that people have, these mobile payment systems, and they're starting to put them in their stores. So eventually this is going to be a wash, but for right now, I'd still pick the Samsung Pay. The Samsung has perks and rewards. I actually won $100 just playing one of those little games where you can use your points and try to win something. I won $100 in Samsung rewards to put towards the purchase of a new Samsung device. So there's perks and things that come with this. You don't get as many perks here with the iPhone. It's just payment system. You also have Google Pay on here as well because it has NFC, so you can use Google Pay on this device as well. So you have both, 2 versus 1. However, Apple Pay Cash is awesome if you're sending cash to like your friend or whatever through the Apple Pay Cash app, or a family member. You can just, if they have an iPhone, you could just send them cash right through Apple Pay, no fees like you have with PayPal. So the mobile payment systems are both good, but if I had to pick one, I would pick Samsung Pay hands down. Okay guys, so we are nearing the end of the review here. Phone call quality is something that not everybody mentions, but it's important because it's something that you do use. The iPhone has Intel modems, and this has really been a bottleneck for me. I'm not getting the many bars that I want to get as I get on the Galaxy S10 Plus. I usually have 1 to 2, sometimes 3 bars, but I don't typically see 5 bars on my XS Max, and that's disappointing considering the price of this phone. Now on the Galaxy S10 Plus, I'm always around 4, 5, 3 at the minimum. So having the Qualcomm modems in here is definitely an advantage. Galaxy S10 Plus. Speaker calls are really loud, as you've seen in the audio test on both. But to be honest, I actually had a couple drop calls with the XS Max. I can't even kid you here. I never had a drop call with the S10 Plus, the Galaxy Note 9, the Galaxy S9 Plus. So Apple, with their legal battles right now, is definitely coming at the cost of worse call quality because of reception, not per se how it sounds when they're talking to you. They both sound great when they're actually talking to you, but a drop call is likely going to happen more often on iPhone XS Max versus a Galaxy S10 Plus. Just had to point that out. And don't misconstrue what I said about the phone call quality of the XS Max, because a lot of people in the comments, or a few, I'm not going to say a lot, but a few might say, I never had a drop call. I have great reception, likely live in a metropolitan area. I'm talking about suburban areas, areas that don't have as many towers. Major metropolitan areas, any phone can receive good calls. I'm talking about when you get out of the city, stuff like that. So here we are at the final conclusion. Galaxy S10 Plus, iPhone XS Max, which is the better phone? Well, from a technological standpoint, of course, the Samsung is like 6 months newer. It's ahead of the XS Max. So if you care about having the best technology in your pocket, you'll like the S10 Plus. But the iPhone XS Max is still a polished, premium, substantial feeling device. It has an excellent camera with smart HDR, excellent 4K 60 video, and has great long-term support that will last you for very many years, like at least 4 to 5 years with this device easily. The Galaxy S10 Plus, you might be waiting on software updates a little bit longer, but still Samsung's getting a little bit better with their updates. Mostly Google giving you security updates all the time helps a lot as well. So if you only had to pick one of these two, you just have to think about, are you going long term? Are you going super long term? Then I would pick the iPhone XS Max. If you're going to upgrade your phone, you know, every 2 years, every 3 years, I think the Galaxy S10 Plus is just a funner phone to use for those type of people. If you like technology a lot, you like playing with all the new innovative toys, this is the better phone for you. In addition, photographers who like better stabilization in video and wide angle camera will love the S10 Plus. Anyway, that's it for me. What do you guys think? Which phone would you pick? The Galaxy S10 Plus, iPhone XS Max? Let us know down below in the comments section. I really appreciate you guys sticking around. I know this video was long, but these are two of the best in the world, so we had to break them down, analyze everything that they do offer. So let me know which one is better to you. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Nick here helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well. Thank you very much for watching, and peace.